Hello and welcome to Default Assault, where we take on everything by default. I'm your host, Demosthenes, and with us as always is Mr. TJ. How's it going, TJ?
Feeling good, man. Fresh. Today was a good day. The sun was shining on me. Demos, how are you?
I'm great. I'm always great by default, and especially great tonight because we have a special guest, writer, director, producer, Jason D. Gregory is joining us to talk about his upcoming pilot, Waking Up White. How is it going, Jason?
It is great. It is great. And I am honored to be on your show right now. TJ, it's a pleasure to meet you. Demos, thank you very much. It's going great, man. We've had a lot of fun. We just hit the 1 year anniversary, of our production, and we're still trying to get some rest. It was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work.
Now, well, before we even get into details about this film, I think most people just catch the name. They hear Waking Up White, and I think they get two thoughts that run through their heads. A, it's going to be the most politically correct show ever made, or B, it just sounds absolutely wild. Tell me, what is Waking Up White about?
Waking Up White is a pilot. It's a story about a Black family that wakes up white one morning, and they have 30 days to decide if they want to go back to their cultural roots or stick with the skin that they're in.
What is the tone that you envision for the rest of the series?
It's based on a true story.
Oh, if it's in Florida, I believe it nowadays. Florida man wakes up white. I can see that as a headline.
Yeah, everything happens in Florida, man. Florida man is everywhere. I get so sick of him.
What inspired you to do this?
I was watching the news late one night, and another African American male had been shot and killed by the police. And the news reporter was out there, and they turned and they interviewed this older African American woman, and she said, they said, what do you think is happening within your community? And the older woman, she just said, this wouldn't have happened if we were white. And I think I say it. I hear, a lot of my African American friends and family, we say it, when certain situations come up, we say, I don't think that would have happened if that person was white. So I kind of went to bed that night with that ringing in my ear, and I woke up the next morning. I said, man, what if I woke up white? And then from there, I just kind of got to putting pen to paper and just came up with the ideas. It's a conversation piece. And, for Black folks, I really want them to question and say, is the grass truly greener on the other side? If I were to wake up white, would I be afforded the same opportunities as my white counterparts? And for white folks, I want them to really realize the privilege that they have. And I know they get tired of hearing about privilege, and some of them say, I'm not privileged because I can't do this and I can't do that. But at the same time, if you and I walk into a store, forget that. Let's say we walk into a Klan rally. If you and I walk into a Klan rally, who's going to be the first one that they chase out? so they're not that I want to go into a Klan
too on the nose. That's too on the nose.
Right.
I have to point this out because when I mentioned doing this episode to TJ, I told him the title of this. I felt this joy emanate from him that is undescribable.
There you go, TJ. Yeah, my man.
TJ, tell us a little bit about your experience watching Waking Up White and what you took out of it.
I watched it with my wife, and it was so much fun. I already went into it with a sense of pride because I knew who it was coming from. I knew what the story was going to be about, so I was really excited to see what the product was. So when my wife and I are watching it, and we're seeing this couple and the stuff that they're going through, the struggles that they're having, I'm like, this is real world stuff. It doesn't feel like Hollywood is trying to, manufacture my life. I legitimately felt like I was looking at some of the stuff that I've had to experience as a man. So, and being a Black man, I don't think any black man can say that they haven't wondered what it would be like to be white. Like, if I can get in my vehicle and not be followed, like if I can get in my vehicle and legitimately go from point A to point B without having to worry about the man getting behind me, knowing that I have nothing to worry about, there's nothing in my car, everything is up to date, the registration, everything is on point, but I still have to worry. And then God forbid I have my kids with me. What's going to happen when I send my kids out to go to school? Like, there's so much stuff that I have to worry about. So I've wondered, what it would be like. But then I say I wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be Tokeo J. So I still stand true and I'm proud of who I am, and I'm instilling that in my two sons and my daughter. But just I'm saying thank you, because not only did you take on the challenge of telling the story of the black family that's trying to stay together in spite of everything, but you did it in such a way that I can honestly say I'm proud of the product that you produced, man.
Thank you, brother. That means a lot. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to tell the story of the African-American family, the struggles. And of course, all African-American families don't go through financial struggles or anything like that. But I think the one thing that we do have in common is that, sometimes we really have to be aware of our surroundings, because of, certain things that have happened in the past. So we wanted to make sure that we had that in there as well.
I think what was refreshing about the film was that it took a more nuanced approach to the current controversial debate. A good example would be the good cop fake out followed by the real ordeal. It's a tougher road to follow in today's overtly politically correct climate, when the easiest thing to do is just follow the trending paradigm. What inspired you to take this more difficult route?
Good question. Yeah, we really wanted to stay away from stereotypes. We know that there are bad cops out there, but at the same time, there are good cops, both black and white. And we wanted to highlight that, the cop that we have in our film, the good white cop, who we call, Detective Eaton, he is actually from the neighborhood. And I think that's one problem that we have in predominantly black communities, where you have these cops who come into the neighborhood who are not from the neighborhood. They don't understand the neighborhood, so they can't really be part of the neighborhood. And I think you see that with the young black cop who is actually there. He's from a well-to-do area in Orlando. He knows nothing about that all black community. So he's a bit nervous in that community. Whereas the white cop, he fit right in.
Yeah, Winter Park, you picked the right community for that.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. And funny enough, we're talking about black communities. We actually shot this shot a majority of it in Eatonville. And Eatonville is the oldest African-American incorporated municipality in America. Eatonville is also where the birthplace of, or the home of Zora Neale Hurston. So we went to Eatonville, spoke with the mayor, explained to him what we wanted to do, let him read the script, and he welcomed us with open arms.
That's awesome.
You mentioned in the production meeting that different races and cultures that have seen the film have had wildly different responses. Was this part of your intention, and what have these reactions been like?
Yeah, it was intentional, because I want this to be a conversation piece. We have had predominantly black audiences who have looked at it and they, with certain things that they can identify with. They say, that's me, or that happened to me. We actually had a screening in Eatonville during the Zora Neale Hurston Festival, and there was a gentleman in there, and he said, "I've never seen the African American male story told like this, where he's trying to protect his family at all odds, and he wants the best for them." And he said he'd never seen it, told that way. So I was honored to hear him say that. And then we've had mixed crowds where we would have some white audience members, and they would say, well, I don't understand why you had to have that cop following him around. It doesn't happen all the time. That's stereotypical. And then you have some people who say, it's too spot on. It's too on the nose, and, it is what it is. It's real life. You know, when we go out here and we get stopped by the cops, or, you know, if we have situations that happen, you know, I can't say, hey, that's too spot on the nose, you know. You know, if I get fired or something, hey, that's too spot on the nose. You know, it happens. It happens to the best of us. You know, a lot of the situations that we discuss in there have either happened to me, my family, friends, you know, family members, and, you know, we just brought it all together, and we wanted to create different storylines for each character so that in the series we could branch off with those different storylines and explore them.
It seemed like the family was passing judgment a little bit on the rookie cop for, you know, not necessarily fitting in.
Mm-hmm.
Was that intentional? Because my wife and I looked at it, and it's something that we're going back and forth on, talking about some of the colorism that our culture deals with. It seems like they were passing judgment, but isn't that hypocritical considering that he's trying to send Junior on that exact same path?
Good point. We added that in there because you have some bad black cops, just like you have some bad white cops. And this cop is unfamiliar with the community, feels uncomfortable with the community, and the community can feel that. They feel that disconnect. So that's why they said, or Bel Air, maybe you should be in Bel Air or something like that, because he has to find a way to bond with the community instead of just trying to come in there and play sheriff.
Gotcha.
Say, this is my new town. And, we had the, Officer Eaton, the white cop, introduce him to the black community.
Are you going to explore that concept of privilege? Because I think a lot of people have this idea, for right or wrong, depending on your point of view, that if you're white, you're on easy street.
I'm going to explore different levels of privilege, not only in the white community, but also in the black community, because you have some folks who in the black community who are fortunate enough to maybe come from money. Mm-hmm. So they have a certain amount of privilege, to a certain point that they get reminded, as we say in the black community, they get their Negro wake-up call.
We are creating history. We are leaving a legacy, amen. We are showing proof that we were here.
Marcus, we are black. That is proof enough.
When this blows up and people find out that more people find out that you're behind this, do you think that treatment from outside factors, do you think that will be more difficult for you? Because I've learned that whenever you say certain things that they don't want to hear, they unsubscribe. So do you feel like, you may be treated worse? Because you're always going to be black. Mm-hmm. Do you think that could get more severe for you whenever they find out that you're behind this?
Yes and no. At the end of the day, my core audience is the African-American audience because I'm being true to them. But at the same time, I want this to be an eye-opening experience for their white counterparts to see what we have to go through. And hopefully, again, we'll be able to, to have that conversation. Are people going to get upset about it? Am I going to get angry emails? Yes, I'm sure. It's a given. I mean, I'm out. As great as Black Panther was, I'm sure Black Panther got some, they got some angry emails and stuff about that. So yeah, I'm prepared for it. I'm ready.
I have to ask, as a film fan, was the opening shot of the film inspired by Sam Raimi's Evil Dead?
No. No. Not at all. I would like to say yes, but no, not at all.
It's a jarring shot, and I understand why you use that. But the very first thing I thought of when it was heading towards the house, it was like the monster from the unseen monster from Evil Dead just being on a white gilt heading for the door.
No, we just wanted to do that just to show confusion, fear, and just. The audience has no idea what's going on. All they know is that they hear some screams.
We've talked about a lot of heavier topics and themes that run through this show, but I have to point out that it's goddamn funny at times. The one joke that had me laughing my butt off: Black Jesus turning white. That was I didn't even know Black Jesus was a thing, but then again, White Jesus technically shouldn't be a thing either. But
No.
what other situations do you see coming up in the show, and why did you choose to take a comedic route?
That's a good question. This originally started off as my thesis project for school. I graduated this year with my MFA from the University of Central Florida. Go Knights!
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. When I first entered the program, I wrote a feature film, and it was about 85 pages long. And it was very dark, very, very dark. So my professors read it, and they said, you know what? You tackle a lot of issues here. Why don't you consider turning this into a TV series so that you can explore these issues on a weekly basis? And I fought it. I fought it at first. And I said, no, when I, growing up, I didn't want to be like Mike. I wanted to be like Spike. I wanted to be a filmmaker, but, I had to realize that I was actually more of a TV person than I thought. So I kind of locked myself in the office for about 3 days, came out, and I had a TV pilot done. The reason I was able to write it so quickly is because all the research had been done, all the backstory, the research, everything. So I just took what I had, took some of those elements from the feature film, and then peppered in some comedy. The message is easier to digest going down with comedy than with a lot of drama.
What's in store next for these characters? Is the Black cast going to show up again? I got kind of attached to these guys now. I'm kind of curious.
The Black cast is asking the same question. They are now in white skin, but they still have the mentality of the Black cast, so of the Black characters. So what we will actually do is bring them back in flashback scenes. Mm-hmm. So a situation that the what I call the White Jenkins family is going through, maybe they experience something different as the Black Jenkins family in the past. So again, like the police situation, maybe we explore how they handle the police situation differently in white skin than in black skin. You mentioned the lead actor. That's my dude, Essex O'Brien. Man, you can actually see him all over the TV right now in commercials and everything, man. I joke with him and I say, man, when we finally get a deal, you're not only you going to be in the show, your commercials are going to run right around it. He's in Publix commercials. He's in Amscot commercial. He's in everything right now. And he actually was in a show on Sony Crackle called The Oath also. And in David Makes Man, the new Oprah Winfrey show that's coming out. He was in that as well. So he's getting a lot of good action now.
He's very relatable. I think that a lot of people will be able to connect with him regardless of their background, race, or culture. A lot of the issues that the family is going through aren't necessarily Black issues, as you said earlier. There are issues that a lot of people face, especially today. And I think that a lot of the problems that Black Americans face, white Americans face, and so forth tend to fall under the umbrella of class. There are a lot more similarities between us than we wish to address, because looking at the positive end of some things doesn't necessarily generate that clickbait revenue.
Yeah, it is a lot about class. I mean, we try to tackle a lot of the isms, classism. We tackle socialism, not socialism. Ageism, colorism, racism. We try to tackle as many isms as possible. But again, keeping that element of comedy there so, people don't get turned off.
I want to be seen giving props to the mom, because when I watched her, I saw every Black woman ever struggling. Yeah. I'm not saying that's for a Black woman to do. I want all Black women to rise up and hold a crown for real. But I know that it has been a struggle for Black women. Yeah, and I saw that in her because she worked for what she got. Yeah. She worked for that. And then to have that taken away for nothing like that was like trash. And I saw that pain in her. I saw that she had to provide for her family. She was not going to let her family fail. That was not an option. And you could see that in her. I felt like this woman is speaking from experience, bro. Yeah. That was real. So props to her.
Thank you. But what's crazy about that is that, again, we had some white counterparts who said, nah, I don't think that would happen. That's not true. And I just said, man, it's a couple different levels. There it's not only class, but you're also dealing with colorism and you're dealing with ageism, just as you mentioned, because you have a dark skinned African American woman who's doing the job well, and she just said, hey, that's 5 this month. She's killing it. Right. But then they walk this light skinned, long hair young girl in who's probably going to do the job, work longer hours for shorter pay, and she's very fair skinned. So other people might be able to relate to her more than the dark skinned woman.
Once again, I admired that scene very much because you didn't take the safe route that you would see in any other TV show or film. It would have been an older white balding boss, and he would have brought in like the young blonde bimbo to do it, literally shoving you in the face like a punch with the message. You took a more nuanced approach, and in doing so you made that message much stronger because you're not pandering.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah,
I have to ask, in honor of your show, what would you do if you woke up white?
It's great that you are asking that question, because we actually used to walk around and catch people off guard with that question and record them. And we just say, hey, we just have a question to ask you. What would you do if you woke up white? And Black people just kind of stop, because it's kind of like, okay, we've thought about it, but now somebody's really asking me.
You really want to know?
Yeah. So, I mean, so to your question, what would I do if I woke up white? I would explore the experience. I would see what it was like to live in this new skin. First, I try to find out how long I had it. And,
He wants to know the rules.
Yeah, because I don't want to walk into a situation and then I walk in there and then poof, I'm Black again. It's like, again, like the Klan meeting, Maybe I can walk in a Klan meeting and see what they're talking about, and then all of a sudden I pop in there and all of a sudden I'm Black. Oh my God!
Gotcha.
Well, in that particular case, you'll be wearing a hood, so they'll never discover.
Yeah. Take the hoods off. I want to lift it up and be like, Larry, you wanted it, Larry.
Of course, his name will be Larry too.
What time we got? What time we need to be at work tomorrow, man?
TJ, the question applies to you too. What would you do if you woke up white?
Oh man, that is awesome. I didn't know you was going to bring it to me. Honestly. So if I wake up, because for me it's a process. I wake up in sections. First, I open my eyes and see the sun. So if I look at my hand and see that it's not mine, I got to check the rest of me first.
Yeah, because if you're in the sun, you're probably burning.
Kind of like the characters, right? Yeah.
Like, I got to make sure that all of it is here.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to look and see if once I've gotten past the shot, go to a car dealership, go to a bank, go to a nice restaurant and see where they sit me. Just walk up to a cop, because Demos, I'm consistent. I don't mess with police at all. So I'd walk up to him, have a conversation. How's it going? How's the family?
When I thought about asking you guys this question, I'm like, okay, well, how would I react if I woke up Black? And it's very easy. I would finally have the rhythm to start dancing well.
Oh my God.
It would finally happen. I've been waiting all my life.
Oh my God.
I think I killed TJ.
I can tell you this: I've been Black all my life, and I'm not the best dancer. So
don't take this away from me, Jason. Don't take this dream away from me.
I didn't say it. I didn't want to say it, Jason. You said I didn't want to say it. That's all.
And it's crazy because you go to dances, and everybody expects you to be the best dancer. How'd you, Jason?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm so discouraged because I couldn't live up to the expectation that you had for me. I got no rhythm, son.
Yeah.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us. I had an absolute blast talking to you about this. I can't wait until the pilot is available and the rest of the series comes into fruition so more people can see what you're trying to do here and what you're aspiring to. I am excited to see what comes next. I want
Thank
to
you.
see
Thank you.
I want to see more of the epic handlebar mustache. Beautiful, beautiful touch.
I can't even take credit for that. When we had already cast him and he shows up at the table read with the mustache.
Respect.
And and he said, I'm just trying it out. And I said, you know what? It works. Keep it. Keep it. I loved it.
It's absolute perfection between the Lion King opening, the Evil Dead, the giraffe head, and the handlebar mustache. And Black Jesus. It's a perfect combination for comedy and serious racial exploration.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And we had
perfect.
a great crew working on it. We had a crew of, I think, 35 UCF students helping to bring this together. And
Awesome.
And all Central Florida actors. We wanted to make sure that we showed love to Central Florida. So, Central Florida crew, Central Florida, cast, all the way down to the catering, everything was Central Florida. We are definitely looking for production deals. We've been offered distribution deals, but without the money, we can't continue to produce the episodes. So, if any production companies are out there and you want to get on board and you believe in what we're doing, please give us a call. Let us know. We definitely want to continue this going on. And we actually have 2 seasons built out already, like written out what we want to do.
What is the best way for people to contact you?
You can go to our website. It's wakingupwhite.com. You can contact us on Facebook, and that's also Waking Up White.
Awesome. And of course, Jason, thank you once again for joining us. Make sure to check him out and find him in the links below. You're always welcome back to talk about pop culture, media. We cover pretty much everything right here in Default Assault. TJ, buddy, where can we find you?
If you're looking for me, look no further than the gutter. That's Twitter, baby. Married conversations. More of those going to be coming out soon. My wife and I just released an episode today entitled Where Do I Put My Anger? So go on Twitter and check that one out as well.
And of course, you can find me on hilaritybydefault.com. Fun stuff every day. Twitter @defaulthilarity and Facebook and Instagram Hilarity by Default. Jason, you got any final words for us?
No, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much. It's been great hanging out with y'all. Follow us on all of the links, again, wakingupwhite.com. We love y'all. Please support us.
Awesome. And find us right here where life is hilarious by default.